Um, Hello, welcome. Can you see me? My name is Caroline Geck. I just saw the name Ampool. If you're here, please introduce yourself and leave your email address in the chat.
Says the chat is disabled.
Oh, hi, Kim.
Hi.
Thank you for telling us. Okay, I think I have 7 individuals waiting to come into the swap meet.
Can you get into the chat now, Kim?
Nope, it says it's disabled.
It's still.
Let me go at my end. Here you go. It's open now. Is it open now?
No, sorry.
It says we will open the room in just a couple more minutes. The Zoom group.
The chat is disabled.
We're trying to figure it out.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if what I can do. I'm trying to figure out how to turn it back on for everyone.
Okay.
Okay. There you go. I found it.
Great.
What did you do?
There's a control bar over to the side. There's 3 little dots next to where it says 2, and I needed to go in there and make sure that everyone can chat publicly, privately. Let me admit some more people.
Oh, I didn't get those options. Okay.
All right. I'm so glad everyone was able to find the link. Apparently it's not where it used to be on the web page, so I'm glad you were all resourceful and able to find it.
It was in the email.
Yeah, I just did it from the email.
Awesome. Great. So if you all could please just, again, put your email addresses in our chat. We'll send PD certificates and the chat notes, and the recording will be available within 24 hours. Caroline and I are going to work really hard to get all of that out to you guys as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Okay.
We still have people coming in, Caroline, so give them a couple more minutes, okay?
Okay.
Oops.
How many people are already finished for the year? Today was our last day for our students in East Brunswick. Beth is done. Kim's.
Lucky you.
We still have a little bit of time tomorrow that teachers have to. Oh, here's Jill. We still have a couple of hours tomorrow that the teachers have to be there, but all of our students are finished now.
Oh, wow. Today we have a drive-by, so we're all going there. We all have slots and we're going to be driving. Then tomorrow we have, including the librarians, have about an hour or so to be with all the kids live. So we're not done yet.
Yeah.
Still working on my reading list.
Is Carol Smith there? Miss Smith, were you the librarian in South River?
Looks like Caroline, Carol, it looks like you can't unmute yourself. You're still muted, honey. Let me see.
Miss Geck or Miss Smith?
Okay, Miss Smith. Oh, maybe because I unchecked it. Let's try again. Whoop. Michelle's here.
We are now able to unmute.
There we go.
Is
All right.
Is Miss Smith unmuted now?
Yes. So no, I'm not from South River. I'm
Oh, okay.
from East Brunswick, and I work with Donna.
But you were never in South River? Okay. Okay, that was a different Miss Smith then.
All right.
Into the email address in the chat.
One other piece of housekeeping, the slideshow, we can go to it, but we're not able to add anything to it, or I'm not able to add anything to it. I don't know if others can.
Oh, okay.
Maybe because I'm in presentation mode.
I think it's permissions. It looks like it's set to view only.
So Caroline, if you go back into your presentation and go to the settings for permissions, you should be able to change it to edit. Anyone who can view it can also edit it.
I'm pressing on the escape button to, here we go. And what do I click on? File? Edit?
You could use file, or you can use the share button that's on the far right-hand side.
That button,
There,
that
okay.
orange button.
There, and then,
At the bottom, it says get the link. Anyone on the internet can view, and you just need to change that right underneath where it says anyone
Caroline,
can
it's
view.
Jill Mills. I have editing rights. I'm going to take care of it for you.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Jill.
Permissions. No worries. I got it. Everybody can edit it now.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
thank
So,
you.
Caroline, it's 3:33, so you can start whenever you want, honey, and I'll just keep,
Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
I'll keep admitting people who come in late. And
Is it okay if I go to presentation mode now?
absolutely.
And you click the record
If
button,
anyone who
okay.
is here who has not yet added your email address to our chat, if you could take care of that for us, that'd be great. If you want to add something about yourself, we're going to use that as our introduction spot so that we don't waste our hour together. We usually end up with a whole bunch of stuff to share. So Caroline has been very gracious to volunteer to lead this today, so I'm going to hand it over to her. Caroline, it's all yours, hon.
Okay, well, my name is Caroline Geck. I'm the school library media specialist at the 13th Avenue School in Newark, New Jersey. Before that, I was in Irvington. I've been about 13 years in the school librarian field and about 32 years in the librarian field. So I just wanted to give you a little information about myself. This is the first time, though, I'm leading a Zoom presentation. I'm more comfortable with WebEx, so that's why I'm still learning too. I'm reminding everybody to introduce yourself and to leave your email address in the chat. PD certificates in the chat notes will be shared via email. And this is really a collaborative effort or group effort. Feel free to add your own thoughts in the bottom slides. I thought what we did last time was awesome. There were so many ideas. I learned so much. So I basically came up with 5 questions. So that's why we have 5 main slides. It says, what swap meet ideas are you implementing or planning to implement? And I just listed some examples, but I'm really interested in hearing your ideas. Just let me just, a couple examples are designing virtual libraries, developing digital collections, promoting the chat line from Unlock Student Potential, and creating Screencastify and YouTube videos. But I just got so many different ideas from the different swap meets I've been going to. In fact, my district was holding their own swap meets. So does anything, can somebody give us some ideas of what you've implemented in your districts or in your schools?
Hey, can I share? This is Beth.
Yes.
Hi.
Please.
So we kind of took a note from the Unlock Student Potential chat line in our district, and we created a website where students could fill out Google Forms to get book requests, basically, or to get book recommendations, rather. We're not giving out books right now. And we also created a website for like end of year fun activities and possible summer enrichment activities. So we kind of made it specific, you know, just to our district, and it's going to serve as a landing page actually for all the district libraries in Summit, because right now we're not like linked as a department on the district site. We all have our own websites that our schools have links to on their websites. So we're hoping that, you know, it'll get the message out a little bit more about, you know, what we're doing and how we can support our students and families in Summit.
Beth, can I ask you a question about that?
Yep.
So you're going to answer specifically for your school. Kids will ask you specific questions for recommendations.
We did, so we did it by level. So we have the K-5, we have 6-8, and then we did 9-12. Like technically any kid with a Summit address could, you know, respond to any of the forms. But we did like kind of break it down that way, just because we felt like, you know, I really couldn't recommend elementary books as well as our K-5 folks could. So we split it up that way. And the elementary librarians also just created a Symbaloo of like enrichment activities for the summer as well. I know that was shared out, I think via Facebook yesterday to the community. So we're just trying to, you know, keep that online presence and, you know, just serve as, you know, resources, you know, for whatever the families need.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that.
I lost it.
I think that's so important to keep an online presence. I'm interested in other school districts, if they're doing anything to maintain their online presence or brand themselves during this time, especially over the summer.
If I may, Teresa from Hawthorne High School. I started with a Google Classroom that about a quarter of our student population voluntarily, independently signed into. But after they signed in, I would lose them. I wasn't able to keep momentum or engagement going through the Google Classroom, which had all the things we always offer: tabs for workshops, for information about the school, information about COVID, etc. So from there, I got into the Bitmoji trend, and I created a virtual classroom with the Bitmoji and with all click-on. So I used a picture of our actual library and put all the book trailers that I was making and the workshop things into that virtual library. And that had a much better response. And that also was then advertised through our social media. I have a Twitter and a Facebook account, etc. I'd have to say the most popular, we also had morning announcements for the whole school, and I just fed that broadcasting class every single day, stuff that people could find in the library, which was helpful. But the most popular aspect of distance learning for the library for me was that we were able to continue our esports program. So it was the only spring sport still alive. So we had been in the middle of a tournament in March when we all went home, and let it lie for a while because we didn't know if we were coming back, and we were going to have the finals tournament in the auditorium at lunchtime with the whole school there and make a big deal. We had trophies. And then as soon as we realized we're not going back, we implemented it online and just finished right on the nick of time. We did our final, the final tournament. We recorded them. We had a student come in and do the voiceover commentaries. Those went up on YouTube on our school channel. I delivered the trophies personally to the winners' houses, and standing 10 feet away and taking pictures of them and their trophy, and then posted all of those. So that was I think the saving grace for bringing students into the library. And then while they were there, they would see all the other stuff. But our esports program, which is brand new, still don't know what I'm doing, but it was, I'd have to see.
Can you tell us more about what type of esports you were sponsoring?
Video gaming. It's esports video gaming. So
oh, okay.
So they're playing video games. And we were doing it at lunchtime in the library before the pandemic hit. So it's a library program at this point. I'm trying to pass it off to somebody who knows what they're doing, and get an actual coach and get them in actual leagues competing throughout the state. But right now it was inter-school, it was in the library, it was at lunchtime, and we continued that. We did Smash Brothers tournament. Again, I'm learning. I didn't know what that was, but the kids do, and they were very excited and they continued their excitement.
Did you use like Fortnite or Minecraft or anything?
No, I'm a reluctant video game, the violence of them. I've been trying to get them out of the library and get the kids off of them all these years. But now that our colleges are offering scholarships for video gaming and they're recruiting eSport athletes and et cetera, suddenly the skills that these kids have been honing all these years are becoming valuable. So we looked further into it. There are high school teams that, and again, I'm just learning the verbiage here, but I refused to do anything that was first-person shooter. So any game that had first-person shooting was not allowed in the library. So these are called, they're rated G, the games that the kids play in competitive high school tournaments. They're called nonviolent, but it's a whole new definition of violence for me. People are still got machetes and machine guns, and they're knocking everybody off the stages, but nobody dies, and there's no blood, and there's no first-person shooters. So that's the new definition of nonviolent. But there are regional, state, and national championships. They fill auditoriums. The national eSport tournament, I'm told, had more viewers than any other U.S. sport ever except the Super Bowl. It's not going away, and so we're trying to use that to it's especially popular among kids who are in other ways totally non-engaged in the high school. The kids who hang out in the library anyway. The library is the refuge of the wayward, at least in my school. And suddenly those kids were picking their heads up going, what? You doing video games? And they were talking to each other, and they're sharing skills and ideas, and they're meeting offline, and they're, so for all of the objectives that I had for the program, it was a win. And it was able to, and the point was, it was able to be continued during this time of distance learning.
Teresa, if you could go into our slide, we have some open slides at the end of the presentation. And then, or put some of that information in the chat. We'd really like to put this onto our Wakelet about COVID-19 resources. So if you could give me the information, I'll make sure that it gets onto that Wakelet that we then dispense out to the rest of our membership. Caroline, there's some discussion about Battle of the Books as well. I'm sorry, go ahead, Teresa.
Just a quick question. Would you want information about high school esports or about just that we did this thing? Because I'll go into a document that I have that I've been gathering information on esport programs.
I would
in high
love to have that document if you wouldn't mind sharing that, because then we can,
Okay.
send that out to some more people who might be interested in cloning what you've been doing, because it obviously was a successful program. But we might, Caroline, want to shift to the Battle of the Books being online, another competition. We have a lot of chat going on about that. So
Okay, well, I'll open up the floor to Battle of the Books if anybody wants to say anything.
Hi, it's Stephanie Singer. How are you? I wanted to mention just Battle of the Books because I love the fact that esports persisted over the spring. And I think those kind of students, as well as our readers, are the ones who, still really needed that connection over the spring. So while the Hunterdon County tournament initially had 7 schools that were going to be competing, we ended up with 3 with a total of 8 teams. So we were still able to, between the 3 schools, we had 4 question readers that had their own Google Meet room. And just like any classroom, the kids had a schedule for each team and how they traveled, and they entered each room for each round. We did the questions, and by the end we totaled it up, and we were still able to do it. We understood and made it really clear to all the teams. We know you probably didn't have a chance to finish reading everything. Pretty much everyone's in the same boat. So some schools felt comfortable moving ahead with it, and some not as much, but I think it still ended up working out pretty well.
We were fairly similar too. We definitely shared that this is the first time we've ever done it. It's okay if you didn't read them all. I was trying to, I actually loaded up all of my readers the last day we were in school for fear that we wouldn't. So they had all of the books covered. At least I only had 3 students that participated and made a team. They had all of the books in their homes. I also read one of the books. One of the books we used was the Whipping Boy short book. Took 2 Zoom sessions and I read to them as a coach. But as a person that ran the battle, we ended up having 9 Zooms or meets. We let each school decide which way they wanted to meet. And so we ended up doing 5 Zooms and 4 meets. So that was, I think we ended up with 17 teams total competing. It was a 3rd and 4th grade level battle. And we have, for the last several years, done it where each of the readers in the rooms where we were battling, they had Chromebooks with all the questions, and they automatically said whether the teams got it correct or not, so that it was tallied already. So that made it easier because we had already had the technology set up and ready to go. So just my partner from Belvedere, who usually the 2 of us run it together, she did all of the reading of the questions. I did all of the managing of the Zoom rooms. We talked about having different, like maybe several battles going at the same time with different rooms. Didn't try it, too nervous, too new. Kind of wanted to make sure we would be able to handle it. We also thought we would maybe try that for next year because most of the schools in our county are saying there is absolutely no field trips going to be allowed. So we have a feeling that battle will have to be virtual again next year. So we might try putting people into rooms. We would need more adults, obviously, so that they can go into the rooms and read the questions. But we also changed the method. We ended up giving them 2 rounds of 30 questions each. So each team had a total of 60 questions. And then it was just a total of points. So they really were competing against each other mostly. We gave a gold level, a silver level, and a bronze level. We gave certificates to everybody. So we didn't have, at least this time, we didn't have a single winner of the battle. So we had several teams get gold, several teams get silver, and I think only one team get bronze. But at least they felt like they read for a purpose. They ended up getting some kind of a certificate. They had fun. Actually, quite a few of the coaches said they preferred it this way. I don't know. Made me more nervous doing it this way, and it was an intense day because I held meetings from, I was on, of course, my school district had to throw a Link It meeting, so I had 2 hours of a Link It seminar in the middle of it, but I started at 8 and finished at 7, and I just ran to the bathroom once. And so it was an intense day, but we had a lot of fun. Would definitely do it again. Learned a lot from it.
I'm hearing some great ideas. Like, I especially like the idea of collaborating with literacy coaches. And I wrote down for myself to investigate esports to make the library cooler, like a cooler place to be. And then to implement virtual book battles, but I won't do it alone. I'll do it with the literacy coaches. Does anybody have any other comments? Okay, I'll go on to the next slide. Okay, during these crises, how has your mindset changed concerning your professional roles? I really feel that remote access technologies have changed education forever. I will never teach the same way. I'm going to increase the use of remote access technologies in my brick and mortar library classes. What I mean is if we go back to school in September, if we're back in the building, I'll still be using these remote access technologies. And I'm going to be designing more engaging lessons and story times for WebEx Zoom sessions. What I've been doing every day is holding a elementary story time for kindergarten, grade 1, and grade 2. And what works in person doesn't work over WebEx. I've had to be a lot more creative. Books that I would use in the library don't work on WebEx. And, you know, other books work better. You really need large print, and the illustrations are more important. So does anybody else have any opinions?
I think it matters which group of people you're speaking to. I think the Zoom business didn't work so well for the little kids. I think, you know, probably 4th and up, they were probably more engaged and they were a little bit more independent. I had a lesson. I did not do live Zooms. All my lessons were recorded. The bad part is that I didn't get any feedback right away, but the tech guy who was monitoring all the lessons said that I got very high clickage, whatever that means. But my principal, I spoke with him 2 days ago. It's a very, very large school, and he says that what we'll be doing I said I don't like that non-interaction. That was very difficult for me. I love the lessons. They were random. Usually I'm more research-based, even beginning in 1st and 2nd grade, all the way to 8th. So these are just random lessons that I like doing, and I was able to add, you know, a component online, or if we talk about Teddy Roosevelt, and then I was able to show them 15 national parks, you know, something like that online. So there's definitely an online component that could enhance, but in terms of the give and take, I missed that a lot. And he told me that he says you will not be going into the classes, they will not be coming to the library, but you will be live Zooming into their classes on the smart board. So
that's really interesting. Even in September, you're going to be doing live Zooming. Okay, you've been told already. Okay.
Well, we talked about, I said, you know, in order for us to start planning for September, we need to know, what are you thinking? And he says, I can tell you what I think today. It might change in 2 weeks, or it might change in another 2 weeks, or it might change in another 2 weeks. But what I see now is most likely, we don't know, that we're going to just have these pods of people. So you're gonna have the class and the classroom teacher, and their specials are gonna have to be zoomed into their class. They're not gonna be coming into the library. They're going to be requesting books, and then we're going to have to somehow do curbside our hall side delivery or pickup. And we're working on something like that. So that means, and I was thinking, how am I going to be able to interest kids in the books? I figure we'll do a lot of videoing ourselves, giving a review of a book, like how I talk about books when the kids come down. I guess I'll be doing that on video, and then they're going to have to request through the OPAC, and we'll be doing something like that.
Esther, we have a question about how you recorded your read alouds. Did you do something on Google?
Okay.
Did you do a Zoom recording?
So the first day we were off, the first day they closed school, they had us all come in, and probably we were not 6 feet apart because we didn't know, no one knew what was going on. So we all came in, there was 100 of us, 150 of us, and they gave us really quick tutorials about how to how to use our iPhone to record, how to use Zoom, how to do this, how to put a Google Doc together so you could pull in all sorts of links and things like that. And so basically I started, mostly, I would say 90% of it, I ended up by just recording myself on Zoom, and then doing a Google Doc and adding in the Zoom video and whatever the, whatever link I have for the book, whatever link I had for online. And we were able to do it like that. And they dropped it into the Google Classroom, and kids were able to access that way. And then our specialists, they call it SLAM, STEAM, Library, Art, Music. That was an option every day. So all of us were preparing lessons for once a week for all these classes. And they could watch it because it wasn't live. Some parents told me that they used my lesson as their bedtime story. I didn't realize. Some people were using it during the day. Some people wanted to look at it at night, and they didn't have to look at it on a Tuesday, even though I posted it on Tuesday. They could look at it on a Wednesday. They could look at whatever weeks they wanted to look at. So that and I reminded the teachers the night before, and I think that helped getting my site looked at, because the teachers that did not do that, I'm not sure if their classes even realized that was an option. But anyway, I was asked to do this. I was offered to do this. If you'd like to do this in the summer, the parents would like it. So maybe I'll do it like a bedtime story or whatever story. I had a lot of fun. It's nothing to do with research. All the research stuff that I usually teach, I videotaped that too. Not videotaped. I recorded that too. And again, when they were doing their research, they were just accessing my recording. So how to cite sources, how to get to this, how to use the OPAC, whatever it is that I would be teaching in class with them, we just recorded it, and that's what that's what we did. So I don't know if this is, he was just talking about what he thinks will be happening. Of course, nobody knows yet, but at least it gave us, myself and my assistant, something to think about. So after we had our meeting with our principal, we were able to come up with some ideas. I was shocked when he said that I was not going to be going into the classroom. I knew they wouldn't be coming to the library, but I was shocked that I wasn't going to be going to the classroom. So
how come he doesn't want students coming into the library?
Well, it's a common place, and he thinks as of June 15th, and we were speaking, that the common place is, even though I have a nice sized library, we don't want all the kids and all the adults who are with them, the teachers who are with them, in such close proximity. So he said because if God forbid someone gets sick, we have 1,100 kids in our school. So if someone gets sick, they are hoping that it'll just be one pod, I'm calling it a pod, but like one unit or one group that will have to stay home, and it won't be I'm not infecting, or they're not infecting the rest of the area. Even hall space is going to be.
There's been some direction from the Department of Education to limit movement within schools. So
Okay.
this idea is been put out by the Department of Education to have the kids eat in their classrooms and have specialists push in instead of moving, to limit contact in hallways, to limit contact in the cafeterias and such like that. So we're all kind of facing these possibilities of having to do that. Now we've been talking in the chat about what did we do? And that's a fixed schedule, and we tend to be their prep. I don't know that we have an answer for that right now here. Does anybody have something that, you know?
I'm not a prep, so I think that's how I'm able to do this. I don't know what will be. I mean, it's certainly not going to be anything that I'm used to before. So maybe, I don't know. I'm just open, flexible. I do whatever they want me to do. But one thing I want to say is the reason why I kind of pushed this meeting now is because my assistant was afraid that we were going to be, our library would be taken over as a classroom. So I said, if we are proactive now and we come up with some ideas and we start this conversation, I don't think they're going to use us as a classroom, because that would not work. So I'm pretty sure we're not going to be used as a classroom. We will be able to be functioning as a library.
That's a possibility I had not considered, was using my space as a classroom for spreading kids out. Yikes. That's kind of scary.
That's why be proactive. Speak to your powers that be now.
And just having a session like this, knowing what we can start working on this summer, like I'm thinking about all the recordings, fun recordings I could do this summer to be prepared for whatever happens in the fall. Because I wouldn't want to go back to school and have to make 24 recorded sessions for the beginning of the school. That would put a lot of pressure on myself. I'd rather have time over the summer and do a couple weekly. Okay, I'll go on to the next slide. And this is like a follow-up question. What will you be doing this summer to prepare for the 2020-2021 school year? I sort of gave away the answer by saying I'll be probably preparing recordings this summer after listening to Esther. Okay, I put down examples: reading professional literature and books. They have extensive, my school district is put out a summer reading list already with links to ebooks. I plan to order the print books and just read everything on that list this summer, just because during the school year, I don't have a lot of time to read. So the summer is like when I can enjoy reading. I'll try to find virtual conferences, and I'm thinking about collaborating with public libraries and museums. So I'll open it up to everyone else now.
Beth Thomas just put into the chat to remind everybody about the book club, and we actually have 2 books lined up that NJASL is sponsoring. So Stamped is going to be first. That's the one that's by Jason Reynolds, that was rewritten from the professor whose name I cannot remember right now. And then we're going to go into copyrighted after that. Lisa Stromberger has graciously offered to lead both of those book clubs for us. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to be doing some technical skills, like, you know, learning Google Classroom. Is anybody else going to be sharpening your skills in Google Classroom this summer?
My district in Plainfield is transitioning from Google to Schoology. So last week I attended about 7 or 8 hours of training on this platform.
Wow.
So during the summer, I'm going to take some courses to continue to learn this program, because we are expected that when we get into school in September, we're up and running using this new platform.
Wow.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Whatever. Figure it all out.
Do you know if there are any advantages to Schoology over Google Classroom? Because normally when you use Google Classroom, you're using a whole suite of products.
Right.
Right. Some of those products I understand are compatible with Schoology. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name properly. Others are not. It seems to have a lot of bells and whistles on it. I just have to learn it and kind of figure it all out after getting used to Google and, you know, forms and docs and slides and, you know, all of those programs. So now it's a whole new ball game for me. Lots of fun. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, basically, what I like to do is go to YouTube a lot, and I look up different Google products. I've watched hours and hours of videos about Screencastify and Flipgrid. Something that really worked out this year was Flipgrid. Our district is supplying professional development online, but I like going to YouTube and see what other teachers and especially what other librarians are doing.
Yes.
What features are most important to them.
Yes. Good point. Yes. It's been a lot.
Has anyone gotten any word? I'm sure this is like so premature to ask, but in terms of doing a book exchange, if we are waiting for those books to, I mean, now they say 72 hours, but I can't imagine it's really going to stay at 72 hours to quarantine books. But how like logistically, what are you thinking of in terms of your book exchanges?
You're talking about the book exchanges in the physical library?
In your school library.
I don't know what's happening yet in that. I have not even received back hundreds of books. I was there a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I know. We're still working on
hundreds. I think I have about 400 or 500 books still out.
And I'm thinking the kids are really into the ebooks yet. That's something that, you know, not everybody takes to. I'm not sure.
Right. Some may like those and others may not.
One of my classroom teachers really worked hard on getting her class excited about EPIC.
Oh, EPIC.
And
yeah.
They are working on their EPIC Caterpillar or something where when they reach certain numbers, and she just, every Zoom meeting, she's just showing them how many they've read and how they're doing. And so at least that has some kind of reward built in.
Mm-hmm.
We're finished with school. The kids graduated last night and we never had a day for returning things.
Oh my.
So seniors are gone. I have hundreds of books out and there's no word about getting them back.
Oh my gosh.
It was just
I asked and I was told their lockers were cleaned out and they were left in the library. And then when I went down to the library a couple of weeks ago, just to get some personal items for a few moments, there were no books there. Nothing.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We've been doing book parent pickup of boxes of materials, and 3 parents sent me pictures or emails that their library books were inside the boxes that were packed up in school and sent home. And what should they do with the library books? And I said, well, there's that lovely cart outside. You could just drop them off at your leisure. But I have 300 still out. I had like 550, but we sent ones home in their personal belongings. So nothing I can do.
Down to 64, feeling like that's a little victory.
Wow.
That's
Nice.
great. Awesome.
I've been emailing, calling.
Same here. Same here.
Our administration doesn't seem to care, so I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Gotcha.
Oh, our administration cares. And that's, you know, school property. So as the kids come in, twice they've come in to get their belongings and get other textbooks. So they were asked to bring those books back. So out of like 1,000, I got about 550 the first round. And then next week, all of next week, they're scheduled to come in at 15-minute increments to clean out everything. They're actually going to be coming into the building, going to their classrooms, cleaning out everything. And hopefully we'll get many that are still in the classrooms. And then otherwise we set up drop-off houses. I contacted about 7 teachers. And so, because we're not a local school, we're in Bergen County, but we're not local to where our school is. So people have been dropping off books at teachers' homes, and I've been checking them in that way. So, but yeah, we're still 470 away. 470 away, yeah. It's awful.
Okay, I was wondering if anybody's developing ebook collections or further developing ebook collections. Does anybody have any comments about that, about ebook collections?
This is Beth Raff. I just wanted to say that we are joining the Connected Library Consortium, the New Jersey, Pennsylvania group that's administered by Mackin.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10 elementary schools in Parsippany, we are all using some of our book money to join because we currently have no ebooks. So we thought that would be a great way to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the name of this group?
CLC, Connected Library Consortium.
CLC, Connected Library Consortium.
Mm-hmm. And Mackin, the platform is Mackin Via.
And is that offered to districts or individual schools?
You can do it individual schools. It's if there's 250 students or less, it's $250. If it's 500 students or less, it's $500. And you have access to a collection of, the value's going up because more people are joining. Last year there were, in K-5, there were over 400 titles. They are single-use titles, but on a side note, regarding like reading workshop, Mackin is developing classroom bundles that will be, I guess you can use the word rented for like a 90-day period, and you pay by the book, so that if a teacher needs to have 10 copies of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that would be a way to get it. They haven't pushed out the details, but I believe Jessica said early July they should be releasing information about that. Yes,
When you
and then
say
you get to keep the ebooks at the end. So if there are 500 books that were in there for 2021, you keep them when the year is over, even if you don't join again the next year.
Yeah, those are yours to keep.
Yes, Overdrive does not work that way. We were finally able to get on a call with Overdrive. Overdrive has a million different plans, so it's a little hard to compare. They have a New Jersey consortium, from what I understand, I'm just summarizing. And in the K-12 New Jersey consortium, there's about 1,000 titles evenly distributed between the three, elementary, middle, high school. But you do not keep those. It was a rushed, complicated call that I was on, but that's the gist of it.
When you say single use, does that mean only one person can check it out at a time, or you only can use it once and it's gone?
No, just one person check it out at a time. I mean, because my supervisor is the ELA supervisor, and she wanted to be able to have multiple copies of a book checked out to multiple students. But, at Mackin, Jess indicated that fee is going to be about starting at like $1.50 a book, per student, because that's all regulated by the publisher. They need to get their money. They have the copyright. Yes, and someone's saying in the chat that other models are that you get so many checkouts. Like at Follett, you can do ebooks through Overdrive, and then there's like 26 checkouts or something like that. I'm really not as familiar with that, but Jessica at Mackin has been really helpful and convinced all 10 of us to put our individual money towards it.
She's great. She's great. She will come to your library. I'm all the way in North Jersey. She came to my library several times.
Yes.
There's a lot of freebies that come along with this. And even if you don't decide to go with them, they still give you freebies. So
Do you have her contact information?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth, because I get so many emails. I'm just like overwhelmed at times. So thank you.
You're welcome. If you want to email me, I'll put my email again in the chat because I've talked to her several times about the consortium, about CLC.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay, the next slide is how do you plan to check out books? We did discuss this, but I think it's such an important subject that a whole slide was devoted to it. I have a little image. I don't know if you can see it. I just put an old-fashioned bookmobile up there. And then I don't know if that would work during this pandemic, but I thought it was interesting. The bookmobile said download books and more from your library. And then it's talking about digital bookmobiles at the bottom. So I thought it was an interesting image. So examples, implementing summer borrowing. It sounds like a lot of individuals are just trying to get books back. Designing self-guided borrowing. I think I got an email about this today. And replicating the public library model of curbside pickup. Oh, sorry, I switched slides. I'll go back. Basically, I want to know what individuals are doing in the fall.
Well, like I said, our principal asked if we would curate I don't know how many, however number of books, 50 books or whatever, so we could share that out with the first graders and one for the second graders and one for the third graders, etc., all the way up to eighth. And they're going to put reserves on them through the OPAC, and we will work out a hall side pickup, I guess, or drop off. I'm not sure, however we will work that out, but they will most probably not be choosing their own book physically. They'll be reserving them through the OPAC. As of now.
Will they be able to choose through the OPAC?
Yeah, they reserve through the OPAC.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to curate, let's say we have 50, I don't know, 50 or 80 books. And I thought along with that, I would do I would send a Zoom of talking, kind of showcasing certain books. So we're going to try that, see if that works. I mean, nothing's like in person, but we'll try that.
So the chat is talking about some librarians using drones. Of course, we're always innovating and always doing above and beyond. I'm not going that direction, but I just wanted to bring it to the group, if you're not following the chat, is that apparently some of us are using drones.
Oh, no, we're not up there. Not us.
Hi, it's Stephanie again. I am not using drones. However, I did see this article and I said, if that is the future of drones, I'm on board. However, I am doing summer checkout. I teach middle school, so I made it clear about a month ago that 6th and 7th graders would be allowed to do summer checkout. They can choose up to 20 books. They had up until 3 o'clock today to put whatever they wanted on hold. And then I'm going in tomorrow and I am checking out books and putting them into bags. And the bags are going to be picked up along with all their locker stuff on Friday and Monday. So I made it clear that anything that was currently in circulation and is not back in will not be available. Only things that have been sitting in the library or got cleaned out of those godforsaken lockers would be available for checkout for over the summer. And then it was when I see you next in the fall due date. But some kids I have 23 kids who are taking advantage of that. So I'll be able to move some books and get them into the hands of people who prefer print that way.
Well, that's nice of you.
Caroline, I just want to make you aware that it is 4:19, so we have about 11 more minutes if there's anything that you wanted to wrap up with.
Let me see if there's another slide. Okay, here's the last slide. What type of professional development opportunities would you like to see in the future? I was thinking about, let me just read the examples I put down: participating in NJASL events. From what I've attended this year, I mean, I've never been disappointed with any of the NJASL events. I love the idea of self-guided professional development. And then I love using Google, and I said it a couple of times during the presentation. I love using Google and YouTube to find information at my point of need. And in Irving, I used to work in the Irvington School District, and every time I requested a webinar, they told me to go to YouTube. So I thought that was very interesting that you know, my supervisor said you can find everything you need on YouTube. Like I wanted a webinar on how to use my smart board, which was a clear touch interactive board. I had training on the smart board, but not on the clear touch interactive board. So I had to go to YouTube and basically teach myself.
People are talking about on-demand PD. Is that like a website or something?
Well, something that we're thinking of creating, the NJASL PD committee is thinking of creating on-demand
That's terrific.
PD using most likely YouTube. So we wouldn't have to sit in hour-long webinars to get professional credits. We could go to things that, you know, like 15-minute sessions that we really needed, maybe choose 4 of them to get the full hour of credit. Like I like the idea of going to YouTube instead of being forced to use district sponsored
right
things that they purchased. Like we use something called Otis that's been supplied by a consultant, but they're really long and I have to admit it, a little dry. So I usually, you know, have my little coffee breaks and I just force myself through these presentations. I'm making everybody laugh now.
A good point. Does anyone know more about the conference? There was just a little bit of, not so much information other than it's going to be online, but anybody know a little bit more about that? Oh, Judy Freeman, I miss Judy Freeman.
In terms of the conference, the only thing they've said is it will be online and it will be free to members, and the conference committee is, you know, fully working on ways to make it a really great experience.
They're still working really hard on shifting it to a virtual format. Lots of PD still going to be available. Like Beth said, it's going to be free to membership. But other than that, they're just still in the planning stages of it right now.
Think it's going to be live, or like we have to request the day off like normal, or do you think it's going to be more of an on-demand?
I think it's going to be both. I think you can choose to be in live sessions, but I think it's going to be recorded and archived for asynchronous watching it if you can't get the day off. If you know you're not able to get the PD time. I think that's going to be a definite benefit of this, is that yes, you miss out on the actual interaction, but you'll still be able to access it from the recordings afterwards. So I think that's going to be a benefit.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Beth.
It's one of the days is a Saturday.
Right.
It's a Friday, Saturday.
Oh, good.
Well, if there's anybody here from the conference committee, I'd really like to see a program at this virtual conference about some of the things that we've been discussing today. And I think like online gaming, creating story times for WebEx and Zoom sessions, how to check out books. I mean, I got a lot of ideas how to record WebEx and Zoom sessions. So I think if any conference committee members are here that, sorry, I'm starting to repeat myself, but.
We just texted Amy Gazala to see if she can jump on because she's the conference chair. And
Okay.
there's definitely going to be a strand about remote learning. I know remote learning, there's going to be a strand on social justice, advocacy and leadership, and I'm forgetting the social justice.
4 pillars, right, Beth?
Yes, social emotional learning, leadership and advocacy, and remote learning. And the call to submit proposals, I think, is going to go out soon. Like once school ends, I think is when they were going to be putting out the call for that.
Okay, very good. Does anybody have any other ideas for maybe the conference that they'd like to just, if there's anything they'd like to see at the conference? We have like 4 minutes left.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I think Kim said this, and I want to second this. Someone who would do, just a review of books, like the Judy Friedman of the world. I think those things are always so popular and never gets old. Doesn't matter what format you use, audio, ebook, or physical. We still want to get good reviews, good books.
I relied on her conference each year to make my order.
I know.
And this year I feel like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Has she gone digital at all?
She retired.
Oh. Well, there you go.
But I've been in touch with her, so at least it's good to hear from her. But I haven't found anything that's like her.
And a happy hour is likely.
Oh,
And Tom
okay,
Engelberger. Tom Engelberger will be the keynote.
And if anybody lives around Morris County, every year the Morris County School Media Association does a Best Books. And it's our best attended event. And it's all through the Parsippany Troy Hills librarians. And they do a great, for an hour and a half and $15 membership fee, they do a great presentation.
Oh, wow. I wish I lived closer.
I would come. Just need to
Did
know
they
about
have
it.
that Morristown event yet?
No, the Morristown, they canceled that for this year.
But
The
the
Morristown
Morristown,
book,
We did it just before COVID, didn't we, Jill?
are you talking about Morris County or the Morristown event, Caroline?
either one,
Oh, no, we do it every January.
every January. Okay.
Jill, any plans to make it digital?
I can reach out. I'm trying to think. I know they list their best books. I think they list their best book collections on the Parsippany Troy Hills Children's website. I'll have to verify that. Sue Plock, are you looking that up? Okay.
I'm typing. We have it on our website, Morris County School Media Association's website. And it's always January, and we always have a snow day in case it snows, because it never snows in January when we have best books.
So what's the website? The Morris County School?
Morris County School Media Association. Hold on one second. I forget what it is. Jill,
okay.
you know what it is offhand?
I'll look it up.
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
It's mcsma.info. Yeah, we can type that in there.
Is it?
Okay, I'm going to go to my last slide. Again, you still have time to add your comments, thoughts, and best practices that you would like to share. And then I just put in this image, have an awesome summer. You deserve it. I know you all work very hard.
You too.
Thank you so
So
much.
just to remind everyone, we will send out PD certificates. We'll send out the copy of the chat, and this recording will be available as well. We've been recording the whole thing. So if you missed something, if you want to go back and look at something, we'll have that all out as quickly as we can. Caroline, I just really want to thank you for leading this. I really
Oh,
appreciate
thank
you stepping
you.
up to do this for us. And I want to just wish everyone a happy summer. Have a great one, and try to get some rest. Try not to do too much PD on your own time. And keep watching our website, because we do have a whole schedule. We're going to keep the swap meets coming once a quarter. We're going to be putting up stuff on our YouTube. We're going to be blasting out short stuff through our social media. We're really amping up PD this year, so this whole next year is going to be a whole lot of new introductions, a lot of new things coming. So if you have suggestions, please send them to pd@njasl.org, and we'll see what we can do to get those needs met for you, our membership. And all right, guys, thank you so much. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Caroline.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Donna, can you stay on the line for a minute?
Absolutely.
Everybody.
Summer.
I suggest stopping the recording, though, if you guys are going to hang out and chat.
Yeah, you bet, Jill. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I've done that before. Okay.
Stop recording.